Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today we're going to be looking at another one of the Carrion Vines, and the second to last ability for the Druid. This is the Carrion Vine ability, not the Solar Creeper or the Poison Creeper. All of them are technically creepers, but the Carrion Vine specifically is for healing you, specifically. Now, I have 8,145 life because this character is hacked, but don't worry about that. This is an offline testing character. Don't get jealous. Now, the Carrion Vine doesn't have any synergies, but it does heal for a pretty significant amount of life, even with just 1 point. Now, to show you that, unfortunately, I have to respec my character here. Hold on. I said respec, sir. I don't care about you doing all that. Oh, did I not boot up the... I didn't boot up the respec version of the game. So I have a version of the game that allows me to respec my character anytime I want to. And this is the... This is a command that you can learn on my 7 commands video, by the way. It's called -enable respec when added to the launcher. And it basically just allows you to respec your character whenever you want to. And how you do it is you basically just go to the panel here and you hold down the Alt key, and bam, just like that, we've now respec. So let me go ahead and throw these in here for the time being, and we're just going to go ahead and put 1 point into our little Carrion Vine. And as you can see, with a mediocre +4 skills, we're sitting at level 5, and we have 8% life healed per Doojank. Now, what is this exactly? 8% of what? 8% of my maximum. So it's going to heal me for 8% of my maximum every time it consumes a corpse. And it goes up quite nicely, so if you actually put some points into it, level it up a little bit, it does actually go up pretty well into the kind of ridiculous range where it starts to heal you for a pretty huge portion of your life. So if you wanted something that would help you survive in, some dangerous situations, this is definitely something that can do it. The only downside to the Carrion Vine is that, well, it requires a corpse. So it's not going to heal you for anything unless you can kill something. So if you're in a situation where you're not getting any kills, or your kills are coming very slowly, the heals from Carrion Vine are not going to help you out a lot. Also, from my experience, Carrion Vine will not heal you if you don't have any missing life. This is another interesting thing. So if you don't actually have any missing life, it's not going to heal you for anything at all. And let's go somewhere where we're at a lower level so we can kill lots of monsters and suck up lots of corpses. That way we don't have to worry about having to actually do any kinds of damage output. Let's just go ahead and drop 20 points into Fissure so that we can just play around with the ability. So if we go out here, you notice I'm at 5,798 life. And I'm going to go ahead and murder a couple monsters. And my Carrion Vine is going to start sucking up corpses and healing me for a pretty massive amount of HP. Right now he is at, what is it? 42% of my total life. Which means that he is going to literally heal me for basically half of my life every single time he eats a corpse. Which is pretty crazy. He can't be attacked when he is underground, and he also cannot be knocked back or put in hit recovery states. You can only have one of these up at any given time, by the way. You might also notice that there's plenty of corpses on the ground, right? There's plenty of dead bodies, but he's not eating any of them. The reason why he's not eating any of them is because I am not missing any life, and this is important. A lot of people think that the Solar Creeper and the Carrion Vine will eat up all the corpses around you and will make, like, item find barbarians cry in a river of their own tears. But the answer to the question is no, it really doesn't. You have to actually have HP missing for him to start eating corpses. Once you have HP missing, then he'll start eating every single corpse around you, and he'll just keep eating them all and keep healing you for every single amount of life that you have. But it really just depends on what's going on at any given moment. It's been my experience that most of the time he just kind of sits there and does nothing unless you start missing a bunch of HP. And my HP seems to be bugged, which is probably because I have 8,000 HP, okay? Alright, don't judge. Not judgy. But even with just 1 point, the Carrion Vine actually is a very effective way to heal yourself, as long as you are constantly providing the corpses to utilize. Now, the other interesting thing is that you can use it to suck up corpses. However, in my experience, Solar Creeper works a little bit better for this, because although Carrion Vine will eat corpses, it tends to stop when you are at full HP. Solar Creeper also stops when you are at full mana, but the beautiful thing about Solar Creeper is that you can just spam more mana abilities. So you can just go out here and you can just continually spam abilities to reduce your mana, and every single time your mana goes below its maximum amount, he's going to eat another corpse. Whereas it's a little bit more difficult to force the Carrion Vine to eat corpses, because then you would have to actually go in there and get hurt, which would trigger him to eat a corpse. Now, he'll eat a corpse even if you're just missing 1 HP, which is great. But he also won't eat any corpses if you're not missing 1 HP. It actually seems kind of like a waste a lot of the times when he eats a corpse, because you won't even be missing that much HP, and he'll eat a corpse, and you're just like, okay, well, that really wasn't worth it. And it's one of those things that you don't really spam a lot of points into. In fact, most of the time the Druid just doesn't have a lot of extra points to spend at all. But having one of these creepers is certainly never going to hurt anything. The creepers stack with all of your other minions. You can have one of them active at any given time, and something like the Carrion Vine or the Solar Creeper can come in really handy in certain situations. One such situation is Neelithak's Temple. So when you're going to kill Neelithak and he's corpse exploding everything, one of the things that I've done is I make sure that I have a Solar Creeper up, so the Solar Creeper is eating the corpses so that he can't use those corpses to corpse explode me and potentially kill me. There's other monsters, of course, that you could utilize this on, like, for instance, Gloams when Haradrim are around, if you don't want the Gloams to get resurrected. Fallen in Act 1, so you don't have to have them get resurrected and things like that. It definitely helps to not have as many corpses on the ground if, you know, there's monsters that can be resurrected to come fight you even more. But in my opinion, if you're looking specifically to destroy corpses, again, you're probably better off with Solar Creeper rather than Carrion Vine, because Solar Creeper just tends to eat more corpses in my experience than Carrion Vine does. Unless you're just always dying. Which, I mean, if you always have HP missing, that's another thing. This would also help you with poison attacks. So if you happen to be in a situation where you're constantly getting poisoned, this can work very well to counter the poisons, making it a lot easier for you to deal with those individual poison hits. And as you can see here, I'm getting damaged right now, so let's go ahead and throw this up. And unfortunately, I seem to be regenerating quite quickly. But my little boy here is just going to keep eating everything, and every single time I get damaged, he's just going to eat another corpse. So if you really wanted him to eat corpses, like if you were trying to get him to eat all the corpses, you'd have to literally sit there and just get damaged over and over again. Taking more damage would equal more corpses being eaten, and so forth and so on. It's also kind of important to note, though, that if you did have something like Replenish Life, or something that would cancel out things that are going to hurt you on a regular basis, you may also not see him eat very many corpses in that situation, because your health would always be full. So if you were running, say, like a Meditation Merc with like a Prayer and a Cure Helmet with the triple regen, you would have a pretty high amount of regeneration going, right? And then, well, you wouldn't necessarily have very much health missing ever, so your Carrion Vine might not really do a whole lot. It's also important to note that they tend to get attacked first over everything else. Despite the fact that they are relatively invulnerable when they are under the ground, whenever they come up to the surface, they can be attacked by anything. And a lot of monsters within the game seem to be programmed to almost specifically hunt them down. Like Duriel, for instance, who will literally attack the Carrion Vine no matter what, which is hilarious. So if you're fighting, like, say, Uber Duriel in Forgotten Sands, you can actually just spam your Vine next to Duriel, and he will not attack anything other than your Vine. You just continually just hold down the button and just spam your Vine over and over again right next to Duriel, like basically something like this. And Duriel will just turn around and attack the Vine over and over and over and over again. leaving your mercenary safe, leaving you perfectly safe, and anybody else who's with you perfectly safe, because the AI of the monsters is programmed to specifically target these vines, which means they end up dead a lot, unfortunately. But it is ridiculously easy to recast them. It's just kind of a pain in the butt to make sure that they're always alive, because it seems like they're always dying, which is unfortunate. I really would like to see them get beefed up a little bit more, you know, to the point where they don't just always get one shot by every single monster that seems to come around. But, I mean, as it is, they're super easy to recast. They don't really cost that much mana, and some of them, like for Poison Creeper, even have lingering effects, which will continue to damage monsters even long after they're gone. So that's also kind of cool. Anyway, as always, I'd appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we're just talking about a icky poison creeper called the Carrion Vine who likes to eat dead bodies. And as always, keep watching.